Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of A Taboo Life, where everyone has a story to tell. I'm your host, Drew Franks, and I want to thank you guys again for listening. A Taboo Life is the idea that everyone has a story to tell, and maybe some of these stories should be heard. From that quiet neighbor across the street who you barely say hi to that older woman at the checkout line who has a Grateful Dead tattoo on her wrist, to that cute coworker that you've been meaning to ask out but still don't have the balls to ask out, and to that creepy guy at the gym who is checking you out right now as you listen to this. They all have stories to tell, and maybe we should sit down and listen to them. Definitely not the creepy guy though. Maybe you should stay away from him. There's a reason why he's wearing that Affliction shirt. And if you still don't have the balls to ask out your coworker, then I have no idea how to help you out with that. Just ask and see what happens. Anyway, if you guys want to check out more content, go to ataboolife.com where you have some funny essays, a couple funny stories, short stories and long stories. Got a couple free books on there. So let's go to ataboolife.com to check out the other content and see updates on podcasts, and if you guys want to make contact with me. Also, I want to thank Phantom Planet Music for the free music. Basically, if I just mention them in the podcast somewhere, like right now, I get the music for free, and it works out for everyone. So thanks again to Phantom Planet Music. Actually, I'm sorry about Purple Planet Music. Purple Planet Music. Whoops. Thanks again to Purple Planet Music. So after that mistake, let's go on to the show. I want to introduce everyone to Miss Crystal Bui. She has a very interesting story to tell, where she basically lied to get this very sweet accounting job for a tech company. It's like a accounting tech firm. With no cost agreed, she was able to get the job by basically studying YouTube to learn how to actually do the programming and actual math for accounting. I don't want to tell any more details about the story. I want her to tell it, and also too the way she met her Scottish boyfriend. It's actually a pretty funny story too. So here's Miss Crystal Bui with her story, and you guys enjoy it. All right, now we're recording.
Woo!
I guess I'm here with Crystal,
Hi.
and we know each other from work, where we work both part time at Jimmy John's. I deliver, and you do what you do.
I'm at the register, but they've been having me make sandwiches, and that's pretty all right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, tell me about the interesting story you told us at work.
So,
Because this is like really interesting how she got her original job, and tell us the whole story about the job and how did you get it.
okay, so at some point, I pretty much found a software company that I wanted to work for.
Mm.
It's not that I had a friend who worked there, it was just an acquaintance, like this girl that I knew. So I just applied for the job twice. They contacted me back and then never got back to me because I didn't have any schooling, because
Mm-hmm.
you're supposed to have at least an accounting degree.
Yeah.
And preferably like experience in the software company. So I didn't have either. So they never contacted me back. So the third time was the charm, and I lied on my resume and said I had schooling. I made it look all pretty. Even had like all the dates. I've never been to college a day in my life, so I didn't know any of this stuff. So that was that. And then they called me back this time and pretty much got on the phone interview, lied my butt off. Then found out that there was a test that I had to pass in order to get the job. So I contacted the girl I knew, and I was just like, whoa, didn't know about this. What do I need to do? So the test was mainly on accounting,
Mm-hmm.
and it was automobile accounting, which is all the accountants out there know that that is completely different from regular accounting. It's ridiculous. So I pretty much went on YouTube, and I and I had 2 days to 2 nights to figure out how I was going to pass this test and not look like a complete idiot going into this place. So I pretty much watched all the videos I possibly could online, accounting for dummies, software for dummies. Found this very interesting guy based in Tampa who was like this big meathead, musclehead, who actually was like the best accounting teacher I could find, regardless of the muscle shirt and all the crazy grunts and everything else he had. So, thanks to Mr. Musclehead in Tampa, I learned how to do accounting.
And just in case, like, anybody actually hears this podcast, do you remember what the guy's name is?
I do not, but I could look him up. He is hilarious. He's very interesting to watch. Pretty much you go in and it's like he's amping you up to like do some sports event, but really you're just sitting on your butt watching YouTube trying to learn how to do accounting. So that's pretty much that. And I went in for my for the actual interview, and I didn't even get to see anybody at first. It was this giant building, and everything was so professional and so crazy to me because I'd never been anywhere quite like that as far as employment goes.
Mm-hmm.
So the receptionist, I got to sign in, and then she put me into this, it was this huge room, like the Last Supper style table.
Yeah.
And it was just a pencil and a paper. And that was my test. And there's like a camera staring at me. So I pretty much did the test, and I passed. And then I let the cat out of the bag and let them know that I lied to them. And I learned everything off YouTube.
What happened next?
You can only imagine their faces. It was complete, like, blank. Like, you've got to be kidding me right now. And I was like, yeah. So I told them about Mr. Meathead.
So but they gave you the job, right?
Yeah, I interviewed. Well, I had to go through a second interview. And the second interview was with the owner's wife and HR. And this time I had a test, but they watched me do it. Like, what is this supposed to be? So I did it. I didn't pass that one.
Yeah.
But they were saying that they were impressed with how fast I was able to sort of kind of figure it out. And I got a lot of warnings on it. You know, you shouldn't. Are you sure you want to do this? Like, there's people out here that have all this. And I was like, I'll do what it takes. And that was that. It was intense, though.
How long did you work at that job?
I worked there a little less than a year. Actually, this past, a couple days ago would have been the 1-year anniversary. But
what made you leave?
It really wasn't for me. You know, when I first got there, I was so excited. I was so like, you know, that's so much pride. Like, here I am. I was 23 years old. I had this big girl job.
Low-cost degree.
I'm on salary.
Like, I beat all you guys.
Exactly. Like, all my friends who are still in school, and I'm like, I got this. And I mean, it was a really nice paycheck, and it was really great. But at some point, I just realized it just wasn't for me. And even though I wiggled my way into this career, like, people go to school for a job like this, and I got into it because of YouTube. And I just realized I wasn't happy. The way my mind works wasn't compatible with the software and the accounting and everything else. So it just...
Yeah, you gotta have a different personality for that.
You do. And I think I was too sensitive to everything. Everyone there was so just on point with everything, very business. And I'm just like, I have emotions. You're hurting my feelings. And they're like, what's feelings? So that
we have an MBA and accounting degree. What's
exactly?
Like, well, I learned your job on YouTube on a weekend. Like, I still got hired.
This girl used to work at a pest control company. What is she doing in here? Who hired her? So that was pretty much that. It just wasn't really for me. I wasn't happy. So I left, and now I'm working at Jimmy John's, and I work at a hotel. And
which hotel?
I work at the Sheraton near the town center.
Okay, that's not bad.
No, it's really nice. It's completely different. Going from a job like that to like these more entry level jobs, but it's really nice. Have you ever seen American Beauty?
Oh yeah, I know of it. I only saw parts of it.
Yeah, well, there's this one part. My best friend. The reason I'm bringing up, my best friend keeps making this connection. So at one part,
You want some water? I guess.
thank you, some aqua. So at one part, Kevin Spacey, he pretty much has this like big job
Yeah.
and then quits it and starts flipping burgers. And he's so much happier. So my best friend is like, "You're having an American Beauty moment." And I'm like, "Totally. This is pretty great."
Well, I kind of got like that back in college,
Mhm.
and what wasn't American Beauty, it was Office Space.
I've never seen that.
That's like one of the greatest movies. Like, if you like American Beauty, that whole message, and you're gonna love Office Space.
I'm gonna have to watch that.
It's, do I have it? Yeah, I have it. I can let you borrow it if
Oh,
I got.
yes,
I gotta look for it.
I'll watch it.
But no, that movie kind of like inspired me, especially when I was 18. It's like, man, I just want to live my life my way. I don't want to be stuck in a cubicle.
Exactly.
Except for now, I just got a job at Amazon where I'm stuck at like a little Bay Area.
Are you really?
Yeah, which it's not bad. Actually, it's just like very tedious.
Mhm.
But I mean, like I can't complain. Got really good benefits and
You get stock with the company, right?
that, and the schedule. Only work 3 days a week, but are 12-hour shifts, which is not bad. It's like, no, I'd rather just
Get
knock
it over
out,
with.
yeah, get all that work done within 3 days, than have the rest of the week off, so I
Mhm.
could do my other hobbies, my other projects. So I think that's a good like good balance to it.
I think so too. It's pretty similar to mine because I have 3 12-hour days now too. So 3 12-hour days and the rest is.
Yeah, I think that's, ooh, man, that's like one of the best schedules you could work. Honestly, just knock out like all the work within a couple of days, and like, okay, do whatever you want to do for the next 4 days.
Exactly. It makes life so much more enjoyable. There's no point in working, and not being able to enjoy life. You know,
Yeah.
who wants to work? Who wants to live to work?
Well, like I was, ooh, sorry, I'm a little gassy from this kombucha.
Yeah.
I'm like drinking. I'm like, ooh. My friends like because I'm still going through this process, like what I really want to do in my life.
Mhm.
I'm 30. I'm like, oh fuck.
Like
I
it's
thought,
getting real.
yeah, I thought by now I was like, man, I thought by now I'll be married or having kids. Now I'm over here like, shit.
You don't even have a cat.
No.
You don't even have a little fur baby.
No, I have a fur baby when I cat. No, like no, it's kind of weird. It's a weird age.
30?
Yeah, it's like I'm responsible enough to take care of my bills, except for like this past couple of months, because like the business I started, like I wanted to try to start a business, it just tanked, and well, it didn't really tank. It's just it's not a full-time income job. Like it's good for like a side business. Like, okay, I can make extra money, pay off some bills with it, or if I want to go on vacation, then I can use that money from that. But it's not something like I could pay everything with. But like a lot of hard lessons. Then that's just been a weird couple of years.
Do you think it got weird like after 25, or is it just once you got to 30 it became weird?
I think it got weird after 25, but then culminated to 30. Like everything just kind of like went into focus at 30. Like, oh.
The reason I ask is because I'm about to turn 25 now, and it's like, ooh, I'm not really excited. It feels weird. I'm like at 25, you know, we have those like, I guess, goals or those like visions of where we're going to be at 25, at 30. And here I am at 25 or almost 25. And I'm like, cool. I'm making sandwiches at Jimmy John's, and I'm dealing with people at the hotel.
Well, like,
This is that.
well, like that's actually Jimmy John's is not that bad. I wish like I get a little more tips, because that's a little good side income. But actually I like how it's really more lax there.
I love the sense of like community there. Like everyone there like leans on each other and works together. Like it's a really great environment to work in.
Yeah, like it's probably one of the better work environments I worked in.
Absolutely.
And I worked as a cop. I worked
you
at
were a
Disney.
cop?
Yeah, after college. Did it for 3 years.
Oh my gosh, did you ever do like a car chase?
No. Like,
no
I
high-speed chase.
I almost got into one. Like, I was so excited. Like, yes. But the guy was too far away. I'm like, no. And they called it off because it was too dangerous. Like, because he was going through he was speeding through neighborhoods.
Mm-hmm.
And at that point, they're like, it's not worth going police chase
Yeah.
because then he could kill someone with his
Oh
car.
my gosh.
So it's better for the cops just to let him go. Like, okay, we'll find him another day than get somebody innocent killed.
Did you ever get to like run into somebody else's car, like just totally crash your police car?
I had 2 accidents within a week of each other. One with a cop car and one with my car.
Oh.
My what was the first one? The first one was like was the end of the shift. I was in a cop car, and I was waiting for my friend, and turned out we got the last call of the night, and it was domestic, and the policy or the guidelines for handling domestic is like 2 cops has to go together because it's a really dangerous situation, and so I waited at the corner where down the road where this house was. And I was waiting for my friend to come because he was still coming, and there was 2 other cops who were waiting nearby because they were waiting for the shift to be called in. So one guy parked behind me, another guy parked across the street, and when my friend Esmond showed up, down the street where the domestic was, we see a couple of people yelling, and we see a guy jump in the car and start speeding towards us. I'm like, oh shit! So he speeds, and he stops right next to me. He jumps out of the car, starts screaming. Then I don't know what this guy is doing, so I jump out of the car, my car, and I went to put it in park. I saw the other guy, get back in the car, get back in the car. And he's like, dude, turn around. I'm like, no, I'm not going to turn around. Like, officer, turn around your car. I turned around. I didn't put it in park. I put it in reverse. And the freaking cop car, and the other guy, my friend who was parked right behind me, he was in a Dodge Charger police car. He wasn't looking at the car. He was looking at me and him yelling at each other, telling us to turn around. Both of us yelling at each other to turn around. Then he felt the car. He was like, oh my God. Good thing that wasn't marked as an accident for me, because the sergeant came by. He's like, he looked at the bumper and he's like, it's like a little scratch. He's like, okay, I'm not doing paperwork on this. Because then I have to get drug tested out. They have to call forensics. I have to get a couple
All
officers.
because you put it in reverse and not park.
Yeah. And it was just like, it will be considered like a police officer traffic accident.
Mm-hmm.
So they had to do all this investigation work. And he looked at it, it's like, it's not worth it. It's just a scratch. Like, nothing else broke. It was just a scratch.
Did he give you shit for putting it in reverse, though?
Yeah, he did. Then what made things worse was the next week, and this is when I had a Mustang at the time, and yeah, and I just changed my insurance company.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just like 3 days into my new insurance company. We're done with our shift, and our precinct was at a mall. So we're on the second floor of the garage deck, and I was driving the paddy wagon, which is this big van we transport prisoners in.
Mm-hmm.
And I parked the paddy wagon, and I wanted to get my stuff out of the car, out of the wagon, passenger seat. So I parked my Mustang. I went to move my Mustang to the passenger side of the van, and there was this woman, or this female cop, who I really don't like. She was awful. Her car was right in front of me, but she was right next to her door, so she was safe. I went to hit the brakes. I gunned it. I hit the gas and gunned my car. So this was like, there had like at least 5 feet between my car and her car, and I just slammed her car. Like, it just like a week within. Then she's yelling, "Oh my god!" Like, yo, calm the fuck down. You're fine. You were nowhere near the car. You're safe for this. So all the cops from my shift and the next shift came up and made fun of me. They took pictures.
Is that why you're not a cop anymore?
No. So
Okay.
they took pictures, and I got made fun of. They put out a bolo report, which is be on the lookout to the precincts. Like, be on the lookout for a red Mustang.
Oh, that is wonderful. That is pretty great. How are your driving skills now?
Well, my sister, well, Tammy, she got upset with me. I got upset with her for not telling me about this. But it turned out she's paranoid. And one time I was taking her to the airport from here, and I just got the Camry. It was a hybrid, and I was showing her the buttons on the Camry. Like, if you hit this button, you turn off the electric engine, and goes gas. And this is when I had a construction on 295, and I didn't look for just a moment. I looked up, and I hit one of those traffic cones, and knocked off my side mirror. And next thing I know, next time she came in, she didn't want me to pick her up. She didn't want to tell me.
She was done.
And I'm like, no, you gotta have more accidents than I have, and all your accidents were worse, way worse.
Yours are just small, little, careless.
Yeah, it's like little things like nobody got hurt.
It just happened.
Only thing that is damage to my car, that's it.
Well, there you go.
Yeah. So, tell me about your life.
Oh, goodness. What part of it? What about my life? What part specifically? There's so much.
What you said you worked at the pest control company before the accounting?
I did. I worked at a pest control company and learned so much about bugs that I can't live life the same anymore. They're disgusting. They're everywhere.
Which company was it?
It was Brain and Pest Control.
I worked for them last summer just for a week.
For Brain and Pest Control?
Yeah.
Shut up.
I got hired for sales, and then it turned out it was door-to-door sales, and I just couldn't do it.
Oh, so you got to meet Randy, the GM?
Yeah. He's a prick.
Yeah.
He's a prick.
Just a little bit. Did you get to meet Michael Goldstein, the big, juiced up? Yeah.
I met those guys, but like, I was knocking on doors. I'm like, this is like a very outdated form of sales. Very outdated.
Absolutely.
Nobody. There's only a handful of people who actually talk to you, and it's just such a weird feeling. Like, it feels like you're violating their space and their time.
It's like, why are you here? Why are you knocking on my door? That's so crazy.
Did that for a week. I got 2 sales. I was like,
I got 2 sales.
I got 2 sales for like both houses were next to each other. Now I was like, I can't do this. I literally cannot do this. This is an awful freaking job.
I couldn't do that. I absolutely could not do that. The door to door. But that's a small world, though.
Yeah.
Pretty small world. I worked there for about 3 years.
What'd you do?
A little bit of everything. I worked at the front desk mostly when I begged to leave the front desk, and then I begged to go back because I needed windows and I like to be by myself. But yeah, I worked the front desk, so I was answering calls. I also helped manage the fleet, so everyone's oil changes. I helped with payroll. I complained. I was a full-time complainer there, so that was pretty much, that was that. Pranks. So many pranks went on in that office.
Yeah.
And that was exciting.
What was the pranks?
For example, one time, did you ever meet Kevin Jones?
What does he look like?
He's the one, I hate to say the black one, but he's...
I think I might have met him.
Yeah, he's super sweet, super great. I actually knew him before I worked at Brain and Pest Control. But, so there was him, and did you meet Lewis, the super tall one? Sarcastic, runner. Anyways, Lewis is Lewis. He's just one of those people. So Lewis, I'm at the front desk. Lewis comes up to me, Crystal, I need you to go. There's a stack of papers on my desk. His office was like in the back of the office. He was like, I need you to grab them. I need you to do this and this. And of course, I'm like, yes, sir, no problem. I'm walking to the back of the back of this office, and I was like, why can't you do this yourself? Like, everything in my head, like, I don't understand how this involves me, but here I am walking to your office. So I'm in this bad attitude. I go into the office. There aren't any papers anywhere. So I'm like, do I need to go in your desk? Because I will go in your desk and I'm going to leave something in your desk, like a passive aggressive sticky note or something. So I go to turn around, and Kevin Jones is under the desk, jumps out at me screaming, and I seriously nearly pissed myself. And that's how it was with everyone in the office. you could have so many occasions, and like Lewis, the same prankster that we all tried to out prank and we couldn't. He would go, he would sneak into the little cubicle section and just scream as loud as he could, and it would just spook everyone.
My God.
Yeah, so that was that. It was an interesting place to work.
Good. Well, like I said, I only worked there for a week
Yeah.
and a half, and I had paid part of my paycheck to that stupid shirt I had to buy.
Oh my gosh, they're so expensive.
I know. I'm like looking at it, I'm like, this is actually $10 to make. How's it $40 to buy?
It's
And how
so
come you're not supplying to your crew?
It's so expensive. And then like when you have to start buying the jackets and stuff there too, it only gets worse.
It's a ripoff.
It was the same thing when I worked at CarMax. I sold used cars for a little bit.
Oh, really?
And I had to buy all the uniforms as well. That wasn't cute. That was not nice on the paycheck.
That's just like a way, like some of these jobs. Well, like when I was a cop, they supplied everything except for I had to buy certain stuff for myself, which was okay. When I worked for Disney, they supplied everything.
What'd you do at Disney?
I was on the cruise ships. I was working as a security officer.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I did that for a year and a half. Then, let's see. I had a boss I didn't really like, and I tried to. We're on a ship, and I basically almost got in trouble for almost starting a mutiny. Because basically the second in command of the ship, this Italian guy named Daniele, was just like very egotistical. Like he was very domineering, narcissistic, and he was doing some racist stuff. And then the guy I was working with, he was a retired police officer. He didn't know who Daniele was, and the other retired police officer who left before him, because we took each other's shifts every few months. So every 3 months we'll change shifts or change roles or whatever. And the other deck officers, the other officers who are actually in charge of the ship, like steering and actually in charge of making sure everybody's safe on the ship, knew about Daniele except for the other half of the ship. So the other, me and the other officers were all talking about it, and it was recorded on the bridge. Then some guy ratted me out too. Yeah, I know who it was, because this freaking Romanian prick. Who we did not like each other. I tried to get him. We went to HR, and I made a what do you call it?
A complaint?
Yeah, I made a complaint about him because some stuff he did a couple of months before with me. And it was just like, wasn't worth it. And then the other guy I was working with, he's a retired cop, he got him for racism. He had the emails to freaking prove it. Like he was just sending fucking emails, like, and we're just looking at it, like, what the fuck is he doing? So he sold to HR, and the thing is, Disney just protected him.
Shut up.
Yeah, they protected the guy.
But why? Was he good at his job? Like what?
I mean, like they said, like I'm told, like he's very good at navigating.
Okay.
He's very good, like seaman, or I'm not sure the term for it, but yeah, he's very good officer when it comes to actually navigating a ship and some problems. If something happens on a ship, you may want him on your side for that. But then, like, he likes to play games. He's manipulative. And then with me, well, my situation was, like, I told the HR person that I suffered from depression and anxiety, and I had to take a lot of anxiety pills. I rarely don't, like, I still have my pills, but I rarely take them. So I take them if I really need them. Like with him, I had to take them almost every day.
Oh my gosh.
I'm like, it was just stressful every time working with him, and they tried to use that kind of like depression, anxiety thing against me. Like I had one of the doctors on the ship, who was a friend of mine, had diagnosed me, and I just felt so kind of violated by that.
Yeah.
And but then she made like a kind of like a compliment, and like, well, here's the thing about Frank, he's obsessive for what's right and wrong, and he'll actually go after what's right. And that's why I kind of realized, like, this is not the place for me if I'm going to be that type of person, and stuff is going to happen like that.
Seemed like a really toxic situation.
Yeah. I mean, like, I'm grateful for, like, working for Disney.
Mm-hmm.
Lot of good experiences. Ex-fiance.
Oh, what?
But, like, it was coming to a point where, like, it was like, I mean, like, it was a good thing I did do it because I always wanted to travel like that.
Mm-hmm.
But then at the end was like, it's not a way to live a life either. Some people can live that life, being away from each other, from people you love, or being on a ship for 3 to 5 months at a time. But also, too, it's like, there's other things I want to do in my life, and I won't be able to actually do that on the ship. And especially working for Disney, because, like, I will have to actually keep minding my P's and Q's. Can't curse, but, I will curse out loud. So I'll just tell, like, some nasty stories. All the officer... I remember I was telling some nasty stripper story, and a captain was like across the dining room. I just didn't care. Like, I need to tell these stories. I was making everyone laugh. Like, I just need to do this. I don't care if I get in trouble.
Hey, none of them are virgins, so.
Yeah, all of them. Though some of those actresses are freaking nasty. Those like, it's like a different world in that ship. Like, this was my first time actually dealing with people who are actors, actresses, and this is not like movie actors or stuff like that. This is just like actors on the stage for the shows, and the actors for like the people who wear the costumes, and they're just in their own world. Like, I don't think they're with reality. Like, some of them's like, this one girl we have fired. Yeah, we fired her because she got drunk when you allowed to drink on the ship, but Disney doesn't want you to get drunk. So she got drunk, was late to work because she got drunk. Then she told us somebody told us, or we found out that she had sex on the public part of the ship at night, and it's like, that's a big no-no because a kid could walk around like, oh wait, so you got...
She told y'all?
Yeah. Then
oh my god.
Then we're looking at her, and she's like, she was just talking to me like, no, everyone from around the world comes to see me. Like, what are you talking about? It's like, I'm Mickey Mouse. I'm like, what? Well, she's the girl that plays Mickey Mouse in the costume. Well, she actually thought she was Mickey Mouse.
Oh wow.
I'm like, oh, good thing you're...
She had a nice little world that she was living in, and she was Mickey Mouse.
She was Mickey Mouse. Have you ever traveled?
Yes, actually, I went to Glasgow, Scotland.
Ooh, Scotland.
This past Christmas time. That was pretty great. Hopefully I'll be back within maybe the next 4 or 5 months.
Why'd you go to Scotland?
Boyfriend Scottish.
Oh.
Yeah. So he lives over there. He's actually on a submarine right now. So.
Is he Navy?
He's in the Royal Navy, so that over there. So he's on the submarine, so I can't talk to him for like, I don't know how long. I think this deployment's gonna be like maybe 2, maybe 3 weeks, and then he's back for a little bit, and the next one is like 3, maybe 4 months. But we can't talk to each other at all.
Oh, that sucks.
At all. So it's a little strange.
Well, that's how did you guys meet?
Tinder.
Wait, Tinder goes that far?
Well,
goes to Scotland.
actually, you can purchase Tinder Plus for like $9.99, and you can place yourself internationally. So like, I guess it's for people who travel a lot. Like, say you're going on this business trip, you're going to be in this city for maybe a week. You can go ahead and start matching with singles in that area. So when you get there, you have someone to connect with. But no, he was actually here. It was his first time being deployed to the States.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so he was in Kingsland, Georgia, and I guess that's a submarine base.
Yeah, it's a big naval. Oh, yeah, it's a big naval base.
Yeah, so he was there, and we hit it off, and here we are doing this long distance thing.
I mean, it's rough. I did long distance, and it's challenging. It's
Is that when you were on the boat?
Yeah, I met a girl. Fell for each other pretty quickly. Got engaged pretty quickly, and turned out as he was like a really nasty person, and
not someone you wanted to be with.
Yeah, that's a good thing. Last thing she said to me was like a year after we broke up, and she started texting me, and I deleted her number because it was that bad of a breakup, and she said she was thinking of me. I told her, hey, you really did break my heart. You did some bad stuff, and you lied to me. And then she told me, like, well, I just want to tell you that I never really loved you.
She went out of her way to say that?
Yeah, and I'm sorry. And I just kind of like told her not to contact me. Then I sent her a message like, hey, this will be the last message you ever hear from me. But, yeah, you lied. You said you were going to send me money because I had to cancel a ticket to come stay with her. And she says she felt bad. It was like $1,000. She's like, yeah, I'll pay you back for that. She never paid me back for that. And I just told her, like, you're a broken person, and I hope you have a good life, but this is it.
Yeah.
And I just blocked her, and she blocked me on Facebook before that, and she unblocked me because I guess she wanted to see what I was doing. And
so she wanted to creep on you.
Yeah, so I blocked her. Like, no, I'm taking back power.
Yeah, no. That is so crazy. Relationships in themselves are so crazy. It's like you have these connections with people, and of course, like, each connection you have is different and special in its own way. But sometimes when those connections end, it gets a little weird.
Yeah, and I think she was crazy too. The weird part was I had a feeling she was cheating on me because, not to go in detail, because one of the reasons why we broke up because she kept talking to this guy she used to go out with, and she would want more pictures of him on Facebook, but she'll never put me and her on together on Facebook. There was no pictures of me. So it was like, why?
It's a little shady.
Yeah, it's shady. So I was talking to this guy on the ship, and he was actually a pretty cool guy. He did the schedules for the entire crew, and we're just talking, shooting the shit. And this is a couple months after the breakup, and she went to a different ship, and I told her, like, made a joke about the story, and he's like, wait a minute, what was this girl's name? And I told him the name. It's like, please do not get mad, but we fooled around.
Shut up.
But the thing is, I couldn't get mad because this was after the breakup.
Yeah.
It was only like a month or two after the breakup.
Oh my goodness.
And he told me, and the thing is, I told him, like, he kept apologizing. It's like, don't apologize. It's not your fault. It's nothing. You didn't
know.
Well, you didn't do anything wrong.
Yeah.
It's like you shouldn't be apologizing for yourself. But it did hurt. And it was just, he told me, like, she was just freaking crazy. That, like, this is like a month or two after the relationship, and then she got drunk, slept with him. Then he had to go to, like, a dinner party for his officers on the ship, and she wanted him to come over, and he said, like, no, I gotta go to the dinner party, and she just chewed him out, like, how come everyone on the ship just wants to have sex and that's it?
We talked for like 2 days, and then I just told him, I was like, okay, you're really freaking amazing. No matter what, let's just stay friends at the very least.
Yeah.
And he wasn't having it. He was just like, no, we're gonna be something more.
Scottish.
And I'm sitting here, I'm like, oh God, this guy is. It's going to be interesting because I had no intentions. Like, I was enjoying, let's just say I was very much so enjoying being single on Tinder. It was nice. It was fun. So, yeah. So I ended up meeting him, and we really hit it off. We had a really great time. I'd never met someone that had been so, like, fun and full of life. Yeah, and I figured that, like, when he went away, because he was only going to be here for a week. Like, I could only see him for a week, and then it was going to take him 5 weeks, no communication, to get back to Scotland.
Oh.
And so we had talked on Tinder for a week, seen each other for a week, and then it was going to be 5 weeks of nothing. So initially I was just like, this is going to be one of those, like, it's just going to fizzle out. He's going to get back home. We'll be friends at the very least. Like, I called, but that's going to be it. So he ends up leaving, and probably at, like, the 3-week mark, I just took it upon myself to, like, claim this dude as my boyfriend.
What? Wait, how that?
which is like,
was it like 3 weeks of silence? You're like, fuck it.
Exactly.
Like, fuck it. He's mine now.
It was the weirdest thing because I didn't want a relationship. I had actually just recently got out of a relationship that really didn't end the best. But no, 3 weeks of silence. I was like, sure, let's just go for it. So I had already gotten his address before he left.
Yeah.
And I sent him a birthday card. And in the birthday card, I pretty much told him, hey, give me the okay. I've already got my passport because I never had a passport.
Oh my God.
And I was just like, I was like, I'll come for Christmas.
Oh my God, that's awesome.
So he comes home, and his part of the story, like when we first met, he says it's this whole love at first sight thing. Like, he knew we were going to be together. His is really, really, really sweet compared to mine. But he said that when he was away for the 5 weeks, he was completely convinced that he was going to come back. And, I was going to be completely just, like, not interested in him, like, just completely just done with him. Because, I mean, it's 5 weeks. I couldn't talk to him. So then he found out that I'd already claimed him as my boyfriend.
you were.
By the way.
That's some fucking poor-ass woman shit. Like, you know what? This is it. Nothing's going to happen. 3 weeks later, you're mine.
Exactly.
Don't look at another woman. Don't you dare talk to another woman. You're my property.
And that's exactly why he was so confused, because, like, going into it, I was just so, like, just wish-washy. Like, like, it's, how that can be. So, so he pretty much opened his mail and...
Oh, well, that's pleasant. That's a pleasant surprise.
And then, next thing you know, I bought my plane ticket, and I had never really flown before. And here I am doing this international flight by my fucking self.
Oh, it's actually pretty fun, if you think about it.
It's fun looking back on it.
Yeah.
During it, I was so petrified because I didn't know what to do. Because I had flown once before, like over 5 years ago. I don't remember. I just remember crying.
Why?
I don't know. I was just so scared and overwhelmed. And honestly, the flight was just from here to Philly. It was one flight.
Not bad. Yeah.
No, but I was crying. So here I am having to do 3 flights. Which I don't know. Have you ever been to the London Heathrow Airport?
Yes.
What the fuck is that shit?
Well, the first time I went to London, actually went abroad was when I was a cop. I think it was 25 or 26. And me and my friend decided to go backpacking to Europe. And I got off Heathrow because our first stop was London because I always wanted to see England. Mm-hmm. When I got off the plane, there's a guy, the tax-free zone, whatever that thing's called, duty-free. Mm-hmm. I haven't heard anybody talk yet, and this guy started talking to me in his English accent. I'm like, holy shit, you're British! That's the first thing I said. Oh, fuck, you're British! That's cool!
That's so cool!
He's like looking at me like, what?
I was like, get the fuck out of here,
He's
dude.
He's not American. But yeah, that trip, it's a long trip, but like, it has to be exciting.
It was really exciting. Pretty much once I was on that, the whole thing was interesting in itself. But once I was on my way to London, that's when I started like accepting that the trip is almost over. This is actually really fun, really cool.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm okay with it. And then I got off at the airport, and then I was like, this isn't exciting anymore. Like,
that was nerve-wracking?
Yeah, it was nerve-wracking because I didn't know what was going on. I wasn't anticipating it being so large.
Oh,
it was a huge
it's
airport.
A massive airport.
And this was Christmas Eve because I arrived on Christmas Eve.
Merry Christmas.
And it was something else. So pretty much like I'm following everybody, trying to look like I knew what I was doing. Mm-hmm. I get through all the security, get through all the Q&A, which I wasn't. I didn't know things like that happened. So I'm standing there like, I'm here to see a boy that I've known for like 2 or 3 months. So, but anyways, so at one point, I go through everything. I have my boarding pass, and I'm trying to like go to my plane, or I guess go to the area where my plane is going to be because this place is so big, and it keeps denying my boarding pass. And like people are coming over, and they can't figure it out, and I'm sitting here like, shit, dude, like, can this just be over? I am so tired. I'm hungry. I smell like BO. Like, I'm just ready to get done with this. So finally, I go back up to the front desk, and, we speak the same language, but it doesn't sound like the same language. Yeah. I'm not good at understanding it at all. So I go, typical American, go. I'm like, my boarding pass isn't working. He looks at me. I had to ask him like 5 times what he was saying, but essentially it came out he was just asking me, where I was going. Yeah. So I pointed the direction I was going, and then he looked at me. He was like, well, are you going to Ireland? And then he named off all these other places. I was like, no. And I'm getting a little sassy because I'm like, what the fuck? How is this pertinent to my situation? My boarding pass won't let me go in. And then he was just like, ma'am, if you read the signs.
You're going to
I was completely trying to board the wrong
Trying
area.
to get to my boyfriend.
I know.
Where is he at?
So in big letters, it was like Scotland. I was just like, oh, let me go to the left instead of the right. And I walked away. I'm like, this guy is probably like, this fucking American. Can't even read. Can't understand me.
Start crying. Where am I going?
Doesn't know where she's going. Clearly doesn't know how to use an airport. It was something else. So then, last airport story. I have 2 more if you want to hear them.
Keep going. It's all about you.
Have you seen the toilets? Do you remember the toilets?
Did I use a toilet? No, I didn't use it.
They're
No,
different.
what about?
They're
Yeah,
different.
How so?
First of all, it looks like there's no water in the bowl.
Oh, I think because they're low flow.
Yeah,
like that?
I guess so. It looks like there's no water in the bowl. So I'm like, well, I mean, at least, I'm not going to get splashed. But what is this? I was so uncomfortable. And it's just like a little square thing coming out the wall. So I've gone through this whole Scotland, Ireland thing.
Mm-hmm.
I was frustrated. That lasted way too long. So I finally go to the bathroom and I open the stall and I'm staring at this toilet like, even the toilets are different. I was like, what is this I'm looking like? I don't trust it. And I didn't know if it was out of order or not because the water was so low. So I went to 2 other stalls, figured that maybe that's just where the water is. And yeah, that's my toilet story. I guess it's not as exciting, but I was completely dumbfounded. Currency. So I decided to go ahead and, do the currency exchange from U.S. dollars to, for some reason, I thought euros was it. I was like, let me get.
Oh, yeah.
I was like,
pounds.
let me get the euros. So I'm standing in line in Starbucks, which these lines are astronomically long. And I sat there and I don't know, something in me told me like, you might want to double check the currency. So I call it Ben. And I was like, hey, you use euros, right? It was just complete silence.
Yeah.
And then total laughter. He was like, no. I was like, don't tell me it's fucking pounds. It's obviously pounds. So that was every little thing. Like, I couldn't do anything right at that airport. I couldn't properly go to the bathroom without losing my mind. I couldn't even exchange money. It was just complete and total. So finally, when I re-exchange it to euros and I go to pay at Starbucks, I don't know what any of this stuff is. Mm-hmm. All these little coins, which are gorgeous, and this, like, weird-looking money. So I pretty much just held my hands out.
Take it.
And I was like, just take it. So that was that.
Okay, so what about the boy?
The boy?
we're talking about toilets, the plane, the pounds. What about the boy?
The boy is wonderful.
So what happened when you actually got to him?
When I actually got to him, God, what did happen? We go and he's very cheeky. That's the term I've learned since being with him. He's very cheeky. So we go to the car. I'm absolutely exhausted. And I'm standing there waiting for him to unlock the car. He was like, so are you going to drive? And I was like, no. Like, what type of question is that? Of course you're going to drive. And he was like, well, you're on the driver's side.
Oh, yeah.
Let's just say the whole time I was there, I could not cope with...
Did you feel nauseous, too?
It was completely nauseous. And then we're driving. First of all, the streets are so small. They go so fucking fast. Mm-hmm. And then everything is on the wrong side. So I'm thinking every 5 seconds there's going to be a head-on collision. We're going to die. Like, it was absolutely terrifying. So that's what happened when he picked me up. And pretty much just got made fun of the whole way. Still brought up the whole pound situation. But it was nice. We ended up just having a nice night in. I refused to leave. I was like, I'm staying here. I'm not going out anywhere right now. And we had nachos in bed, and it was nice.
Hey, let's just relax for tonight.
I was like, this is as exciting as it's going to get.
I have my adventure so far. Let's just relax.
Oh, I was so petrified. I don't know. But I found out that... if you go to Orlando, you can do a direct flight. So instead of 18 hours of travel,
that's right. Yeah.
One plane, 8 hours. So I wish I would have known that the first time, but at least, I got the worst out of the way.
Ugh, God.
So yeah, but he would be an interesting one to talk to. He lives on a submarine. He's a nuclear engineer.
Holy shit.
Yeah, so I'm sure he has some stories. We don't talk about it much, but just like the stories he's told me about these submarines. Because how many people do you think are like on a submarine?
70 to 80. That's somewhere around there, right?
Yeah, that's what I thought. It could be like 130 plus.
Holy crap.
I know. And this blows my mind. So Ben, he calls himself a wee little dude. He's 5'5". So you have 5'5" guy.
Yeah.
Is too big for their sleeping quarters. What?
Well, that makes sense because they have to use all the room they have.
Yep, but 5'5", he is the sleeping area is too small for
tall.
him. I was like, what? So it's pretty interesting. I couldn't do it. I started watching because he just recently left on Sunday, and I decided to watch YouTube. Here we come back to YouTube. The submarines diving and surfacing, and then like the emergency surfacing. That stuff is crazy.
Yes, it looks so cool. Like watching it.
It looks so scary. I saw it and I was like, what is going on? So yeah, submarines.
So, how long were you there? Like
I was there for just a week. About a week because I got there Christmas Eve and I had to leave on New Year's Day because my lovely software job didn't want me to stay any longer. So I left on New Year's Day.
Oh, have you guys seen each other since, or is this?
Yeah, he came again in February. So
For Valentine's Day?
Yeah, actually, yeah.
We came for Valentine's Day.
He wasn't expecting. I got a call like February 13th, and it was pretty much like, "Hey, can I come over?" And I'm like, "Duh." Like, what do you mean? Can I come over?
Listen, I want my space. I want my space.
I think we need our space. So no, he booked the flight, and 6 hours later, he was on the flight because like with the nature of his job, like we can't really plan anything. Anytime he's ever come, it's literally been like maybe a day's notice, and then he's traveling over. So, yeah.
That's actually pretty cool, though.
I guess it is. But
have you seen him in his kilt?
Oh my gosh, no. But I keep bringing up the kilt. Okay. So where he lives, it's this really cool area. It's like this. It used to be a carpet factory, and it's this big historical building, but they also have like a brewery in it, and there's these restaurants in it. Ooh. So we go one day not realizing that there was a wedding taking place, and I didn't realize that Scottish people wear kilts to weddings. So I walk into this room with all these dudes in these kilts, and I thought it was the coolest thing ever.
Well, here's a surprise. Wait,
are you in a kilt?
St. Patrick's Day.
Yes, look at that. You even have that little
I do.
thing.
It's there.
Look at that.
Oh, let me show you the other picture. And also, I love wearing kilts. Like, whenever I get a chance, like
to wear a kilt.
Yeah, I only have one kilt, but I think this is some drunk guy at the beach.
Look at your socks too.
The great matching socks.
And your tie. That is wonderful.
Like, I really do love kilts. I wish that became like a normal thing for men, especially here like in Florida, because it's so comfortable to wear, especially when it's hot.
I believe it.
Just walk around like, oh god, that feels a lot better. And I wore that kilt at Burning Man. I went last year.
Was it nice?
It was nice. I was like, and it was so. I thought I was gonna be the only one, but I saw guys wear different types of kilts, but they're wearing kilts, and it was like, oh my god, they get it.
It's practical.
They get it. It's just an awesome fucking thing to wear.
I think it's completely practical. So generally, like, I wear dresses all the time. I usually never wear pants. Like, Jimmy John's is weird because I'm like, I have to actually wear some
shorts or something.
Shorts or pants. But usually I'm in dresses all the time, so I completely get it. Like, it's just so breezy. It's so convenient.
Well, I think for a guy, because, like, especially kilts are more, what do you call it? They're a little more wider. It's just like if you're doing work, especially if you're doing work. Like, I could imagine someone doing construction probably be more comfortable wearing a kilt. Because I remember running around in a kilt at Burning Man. I was doing, like, I did some gladiator stuff there, and it was sexy fun. I was like, man, it's a lot more practical. Like, you could move a lot better. You could be more agile.
Oh my gosh, you should definitely go to Scotland. Everywhere I went, there's like kilt stores, and one of my favorite pictures I took there. If you like zoom in into the back, the kilts are on sale.
Shit. Like my on Disney, like two of my good friends on the ship, were Scottish, and they're just so laid back, have like my same sense of humor, like the whole dark and like, twisted humor, like the I'll give a fuck humor.
Yeah.
Like it was just cool to hang out. Like the Scottish people in general, just fucking fun to hang out with, and Irish, Welsh, but except for the Scouse, because my ex fiance was a Scouse, which is Liverpool. So it's Liverpool.
It's nice. Glasgow, where I was, it's actually the friendliest city in the world.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, of course, like before I went, I did all the research, like trying to find out exactly like where I was going, what I was getting myself into, and I saw that it was the friendliest city on earth. And of course, you see that stuff, and you're like, I actually went, and everyone there was so inviting, so friendly. Like everyone asked me, what's the biggest difference, from living in the States and going over there, and I was like, it's absolutely the people.
Yeah.
So sweet.
I noticed that when I traveled, like the different types of people you run into, especially in different countries, a lot more friendlier, a lot more chill, relaxed.
Not as entitled.
Yeah, and only place I didn't feel like that was in only part of Germany was Frankfurt, and Frankfurt was just, I think because it was more of a business area or like a economic hub. It was like very dry and very. I went to some German restaurant and nobody was talking, and nobody was laughing.
Oh,
I'm like,
wow.
Jesus Christ. Then the next day I flew into Spain. This is during Easter when I had the festivals there.
Was it the opposite then?
Complete opposite. Everything was bright colors. People were outside and like they were dressed they were just dressed nice, and they were freaking drinking, laughing. It's just like at noon. This is lunchtime, and
Oh
they're
my
like,
gosh.
welcome to Spain. Like, wait. And the thing about Spain, I know, or not all of Europe, but I know it's just in Spain and Italy, I think even parts of France, was like people kind of like took more pride about their appearance. I know it's like even like I was looking at these these older couples, and they look fit, they look pretty good, and I noticed how they were still kind of like very lovey with each other. They were still touching each other. The woman was grabbing the guy's ass.
Yes.
They were kissing. And
you get it, Grandma.
And this is like, yeah, they're like older. Like, it had to be like 60s or 70s. They're still like, they're like, oh, hey.
That's so great, though. It seriously seems like everyone is just so much
it's
happier.
Like a little more freer. Like, man, I want something like that.
Yeah, it's really nice. Like, even like what you said about the appearance, one of the things that I noticed is whenever we went out for New Year's, so, you go out, everyone dresses up in their own version of dressing up. But, like, most of the guys were wearing, like, blazers and those, like, cool dad vests. Like, everyone's dressed super nice to go out. It's completely opposite than if we go to the beach bars. Yes, they are. Yes, they are.
Like, the Scotch is still drunk. Like, well, we're looking nice being drunk.
They are. Oh, my gosh. And the bagpipes. Hearing the bagpipes play was one of the coolest things.
That's like the one culture I wish I was kind of born into, or maybe like get adopted to somehow.
Please, I hope to be there within maybe the next 2 to 3 years. I just want to live there.
It's like, well, I haven't been in Scotland yet, but I'm, like the furthest north I've been in the Great Britain area was Liverpool. So it's probably not that. I think it's probably some difference in the temperature and the weather, but. It'd be nice actually see what it is, how it is to live there.
It's so gorgeous. I didn't want to go. Everything is just so gorgeous. There's castles. In Edinburgh, not in Glasgow, but a little bit away. There's some castles, and all their art galleries and stuff is completely free.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah, so the art galleries, there's like a donation bucket that you can put some coins in. But that's free. The schooling's free. The healthcare is free. And I swear that's why everyone's happier. And did you know they get standard 6 weeks vacation?
Yeah, that's a big part in Europe. Like, that's a big thing in Europe. And it makes sense.
It does.
Like, they know, like, it's like the whole idea with America, like the American mindset, like, if you want an American dream, you have to work every day for it.
Exactly.
And they're like, okay, you still have goals and stuff, but, like, you need a time to actually go explore or relax. Because it's like what you said earlier. Like, what's the point of always working and you're not gonna have a life?
Exactly, because you can have all the money in the world, but if you're sitting there in a sour attitude because you hate work and you hate life, then you're not going to enjoy anything.
Yeah, it's like out here, like you have to make a sacrifice. Okay, get paid less, but you have more time, or if you want to get more money, you have to work. It's like getting all that money, but what's it worth?
Exactly.
In the end, like when you didn't really do anything with your life.
Exactly. So and also when you're over there, it's so much cheaper to travel.
Yeah.
From place to
It's
place.
easier.
Absolutely. Over here, like even taking a trip to, let's just say the Carolinas, that is something that we would have to plan. Like it's going to be super expensive. Even if you fly there, it's going to be a good chunk.
Yeah.
But, I have a friend who's in Spain right now. He went from Spain, wherever he is in Spain, to Paris, and the flight was under $60 round trip.
Well, like the second time I went backpacking in Europe, I went by myself, and I bought for $300, I think. Yeah. The Euro Pass, which was such an amazing thing. Like, I could get on the train as many times as I want, and that's how I got around Europe.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's just like, okay, I want to go from Madrid to, no, I went from Barcelona to Paris, and I think that's 6 hours, but only I had to do was show the pass. The guy wrote something down on my pass, my little passport pass for the book, and just jumped on a train.
That's pretty great.
Yeah. I'm like, it's just it's just whenever I want, wherever they have seats free. It's like, all right, just jump on.
That's so cool. I feel like you can't really do stuff like that here.
No, you can't. Like, it was such a great idea. Like, man, this is such an easy way to get around Europe.
Absolutely. That's pretty cool. I'm gonna look into that. I think that'd be cool to do.
Yeah, I think they have a ferry line from Scotland to, actually the continental Europe. If I remember looking at the map right. So you jump on a ferry, go to I think Denmark, or I forgot what it's Sweden or something like that. Then from there you could just go on the trains.
That sounds pretty awesome.
That's awesome.
I'm gonna have to look into that. I know Scotland has a Harry Potter train.
What?
They have a Harry Potter train, and there's this part where have you ever watched Harry Potter? So like they're on the train and it's like this big bridge type thing. It's like the arches that the train is going over. That's what you see on this Harry Potter train. Is those giant arches. Like it's like you're actually going to Hogwarts.
Well, see, J.K. Rowling got a lot of ideas from her life.
Yeah, and didn't she live in Scotland?
I don't remember that part, but like I know I read like the Dementors.
Wasn't that for her depression?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like, man, that's some cool like stuff she came up with.
It is. Do you have like any type of artistic outlet that you?
Yeah. I like to write. I wrote 2 books already.
Oh, cool.
Actually, technically 3. The first 2 I tried to self-publish, and didn't make any money. I lost money on those. And the third one, I'm trying to get professionally published right now, and I already got like 11 rejections. But I think by the summer, if I have the money, if I don't get accepted by a publisher, I'll pay for someone to actually edit it properly, because it's just a manuscript right now.
Yeah.
So the story is done, but I need someone going to actually fix up the grammar and stuff. Do that, and I might print it out myself and just go to like a what do you call it? Farmer's market and set up a table, sell the books there.
Have you ever like tried to do it on the Amazon?
Yeah,
for the Kindle? Is that the self-publishing that you did?
That's what it is. You could get the books on Amazon and Apple and all the other outlets, but it's just the marketing for it.
Yeah.
I don't know how to market it, but what's going to happen with this podcast? I created a website already, and I wrote all some of the crazy stories down. Put the books on there. I wrote a couple articles, poems, short stories, and all of it's going on there with the podcast too. So the website is already set up. Yesterday, I actually started teaching myself how to actually upload the podcast. I had to actually pay for a server. Then something about RSS feed, something like that. Then actually publish it on iTunes and anywhere you can do a podcast.
Well, that's exciting.
Yeah.
I didn't realize how much work gets put into it.
Yeah, I didn't realize it until I procrastinated with the podcast because I only did 5 interviews before you. I wanted to do 10 before I actually start publishing it. But now I'm reading, I'm like, okay, it's probably good. I only did 5 so far because I think some of the servers, if I want to pay for it, they only give you like a couple of hours per month to actually upload something. So, I don't know, I still got to look into it. But I'm hoping by May I'm going to have all the podcasts out, all the interviews out.
That's coming up.
Yeah.
It's next month, right?
Yeah.
April, May, yep.
Doesn't seem too bad, but the website, I had to use like pseudonym because I started working at Amazon, and and a lot of the stories I wrote are basically I wrote like the purpose of the website is not politically correct. It's like there's a lot of like stories, like a lot of stuff I did. It's like, no, I'm just gonna be honest about what happened. I'm gonna tell the truth.
Yeah.
I did some crazy shit. Here's the truth. Here's what my take on it. You guys judge, but like I'm not gonna hold back. And like I like to just cursing everything, but it's not too much. It's just I use it. Actually, I wrote a poem called "Fuck." It's like what I wanted to do with that poem. It's like I wanted to make a beautiful poem with the word "fuck," and that's what I tried to do. Like it was like a love story, but every sentence had "fuck" in it.
That is amazing.
That's like I want to see if I could make something beautiful, but using the word "fuck."
That is amazing.
But yeah, see what happens with that. But I don't know. Before I was coming here, I was listening to the Joe Rogan podcast.
I've actually listened to that.
Yeah, like, but that's how I got the inspiration to do this stuff. Him and this guy called I forgot his name, but he wrote a book called Sex of Dawn. They were talking about doing podcasts, and he said like why podcasts and doing your own websites, that kind of stuff. It's like better for artists and stuff like that because like there's a chance you can actually make money on your own. You don't need a publisher company. You don't need, if somebody actually likes it, and that's the market. Somebody actually likes it, you can actually make a small operation out of it and still make a lot of money and still do what you love without somebody telling you, oh, you can't do this because it's not gonna.
Because at that point, it's not really.
Yeah.
It's a job.
Yeah.
At that point.
Well, like I noticed that with the couple rejection letters I got from the book, some of them were really nice and helpful. Like they actually read what I wrote, like the letter and my summary for the book. And one guy was just really honest, like, hey, you know what? It's a good idea for a story. I like the story, but this is not something I would do because it's not the genre. But like keep working at it, which was like really nice and then not endearing, but very just kind of like empowering for me.
Yeah.
But then some of the emails are just kind of like just rude and it's like, well, we don't see how I'm making money out of this. And it's kind of like, you know, I worked 2 years on this. You guys just make money off other people's work.
Yeah.
Only you have to do is just pitch it to a publishing agent, publishing company. That's all you guys do.
So handling, personal question for you. So how is like coping with all that rejection? People don't like rejection in general. So how was...
Well, it's like this is a weird time of my life because, like I said, the business is not doing well. I had first time in my life this is the first time in my life I had problems with finances because I've always been responsible with my money. Always made sure my bills were paid. Ever since like I was 18, I made sure all my bills were paid. Only time I would miss a payment is I just forgot.
Yeah.
That's the only time I missed a payment. It's like, oh fuck.
Oh shit, I need to pay this.
And the people that they understood, like they looked at my history, like, oh well, we'll knock away the late fee because we saw that you're
never late.
Yeah, you're never late. This is the first time in my life where I actually had problems, and it's kind of been stressful with that. And then the rejection letters, and then problems with dating. There's just like one pot helps. Yeah. Because pot, like the other day, I got so high. It's like, man, I actually have a good life. You know, I'm having some problems right now. Like I'm gonna make it through it. I just got this job at Amazon. It's gonna solve a lot of problems. But I can't smoke.
I can't smoke.
It's like not. Like I have to make sure I stop smoking a couple days before I go to work, so that way if I get accidentally tested, then
you're good.
Yeah, I'm good. That helped. Marijuana helps out a lot.
Yeah,
like I wrote an article why cops actually smoke marijuana.
No, I think everyone should do it that wants to do it.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a bad thing. I think it has like this stigma against
Yeah,
it. But I think it's absolutely wonderful.
I think it's really healthy. Like it. I think it should be put in the same category as alcohol. Well, like I don't think people should be driving on it
Yeah.
or should be working on it. But like, it's a lot, I think it's a lot healthier than a lot of stuff that's out there.
I absolutely think so too. Especially like I know you mentioned like anxiety and depression earlier, and like that's something I struggle with, and I chose to never get medication for it because I saw like friends and family get put on these different medications for that, and I just saw how it like altered them or changed. Like it just wasn't the same. So like for me, that's when I started smoking, and it's a world of a difference.
Well, like I'm on Lexapro, which is antidepressant, and sometimes it makes me kind of foggy, and I know it kind of makes me somewhat dull a little bit, but I feel like it was for me at least, like it was more helpful. Like it did more good than harm, and it's like I know my anxiety's like very very low. It's not as bad as it used to be. My depression, which I found out, I need to still buy this guy's book because I want to read it. This English author wrote, depression is not so much like a clinical. He said it might not be a clinical disorder. It might be just a symptom of economics or economic despair. Like if you're doing, especially if you're a man, if you're not. For a guy, I think it's difference between a guy and a female. Because if a woman's out of work, I think she can handle it a little bit better. But if a guy's out of work or is not fulfilling some type of role,
do you feel like the self-worth goes down?
Yeah, I know it's last week when I started with Amazon, the first day, even though I was exhausted, I felt a lot better about myself. I felt a lot more energized. Like even though it's like, okay, it's not the ideal job, but a lot more pride came back into me, and I felt a lot more confident. And it's like going back to that question about the rejection stuff. It's just I kind of just told myself like, whatever's going to happen, I'm going to go through it. Like I gotta be honest with myself. It's going to be rough. I'm going to have to make sacrifices. I am going to make mistakes because I'm human, but there's something on the other side. I know there's something on the other side, and I have to keep going and I have to take responsibility for everything. Like I started reading this book called The Tactical Guide to Women, and it's not a book about flirting. It's not one of those pickup artist books. It's about like he actually wrote a book for females too, the psychologist, or the female version of it, but this is for guys. How to actually properly date someone, or actually find out, kind of be doing risk management while dating. Like, okay, you want a relationship, a good relationship, you need to address the issues I have, which I started really thinking about. Like, yeah, okay, there's some mistakes I made in relationships, so I want to make sure I don't repeat those, and also how to actually properly kind of like feel out a woman, like if she's going to have good values, if she's going to have a good head on her shoulders. And I didn't do that stuff before.
So it's like nicer knowing how to like gauge compatibility more.
Yeah, it's like this is like 30 is a weird time because now I'm like learning like, okay, there are a lot of good things, got a lot of bad things. How can I make my life better? And this is a time I actually address all these issues and move forward.
That's a good pivotal moment.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's exciting though.
It is, but it's also like at times it gets sad because like you actually have to address some issues. But then it's actually good too. It's like, and some of those issues that are addressed, like it feels like that, like it's being corrected pretty fast.
You have to be honest with yourself.
Yeah.
And that's hard for just about everyone, being honest with ourselves, because I feel like we probably lie to ourselves more than we lie to anyone else when it comes to like the reality of things.
Yeah, I did not. It's not sometimes. It's not. It's not intentional. Sometimes the brain has a way it has to protect itself.
Exactly. No, I think that's pretty cool. All those psychology books, I think it's interesting, but one of my friends is, I don't know if she's going to be a psychologist or a therapist. I'm not quite sure necessarily what the difference is. I know she's getting her master's now, but so we have these like little conversations, and she like gives me the whole psychologist point of view, and I think it's the most fascinating thing. So kudos to you for reading books.
That was actually my bachelor's degree in psychology.
Was it really?
Yeah.
That's pretty awesome.
Because at the time I thought I was going to become an FBI profiler, and I still love psychology.
Yeah.
But then in this book I read by Malcolm Gladwell, He does like a lot of sociology books and like really interesting stuff. Like he takes topics in history and goes behind the scenes. Okay, this is what really happened. And he wrote an article in one of the books because he had one of his books was like a manuscript of all his articles, and he wrote about FBI profilers comparing them to psychics. And he said like they're both doing the same thing, where they're making really broad statements and broad conclusions, and to make so many of them, it's like one of them's gonna be right.
Yeah.
And he took transcripts of like this famous FBI profile who I read his book, and he took the transcript of one of his interviews and saying like telling like the police what to look for. It's like basically you're looking for a man who is right-handed but could use his left hand. He's tall but might be short. It was something like that. It's like he was making these broad statements like, wait, so it's not real?
Tall but might be short.
He's tall, might be short. He might be bad with women, but he has a relationship. It's like, wait,
so it could be anyone.
It's like, wait, it's just a very general, specific. It's not specific.
That is pretty great. That's hilarious.
Yeah.
Do you notice things like that in the news? So, like, now that you know that, like, when you read the news or watch the news, are you aware of, like, the descriptions and things where it's like...
Well, some of the... I think for a psychological profile, like, I don't think you get specific with that, but you can get specific with intent. Like, more likely if someone gets killed, if someone is murdered, especially as a vicious murder, it's someone that was close to the victim. Most of the time, and that's kind of like a given kind of thing. That's where you kind of learn the police work, and some crimes you could tell what type of person would do it, and then some crimes you get surprised, like, oh wow, didn't see that one.
What is going on?
But yeah, so how come you never went to college?
I was one of those like unfortunate kids in school where like my parents broke up and it was absolutely terrible. I actually like during high school, I pretty much say I was homeless. Like I didn't really have anywhere that was mine. Like I lived with my mom for a little bit. It didn't work out. She had a move-in boyfriend that just not a good situation. Cops got involved. It was terrible. So I pretty much just moved. I would live like with a friend for maybe 2 weeks, maybe 3 months. And after high school, so like the end of high school, I was living with my mom's ex-boyfriend. Yeah, she pretty much just dropped us off at this dude's house who he didn't like her anymore, and he definitely didn't like us. But my sister and I were living there, and my mom like ended up taking my sister back, and they lived a happy life. But I'm sitting here living with my mom's ex-boyfriend.
How the fuck that? Holy
weird
shit.
I'm telling you, it's the weirdest situations. But after high school, after that, you know, of course, understandably, he was like, okay, when you're 18, you gotta go, which I totally got. So I turned 18, didn't have anywhere to go, didn't have a car, didn't have a job, never had any of it. So I ended up calling one of my teachers from middle school, one of my art teachers, because I went to La Villa and DA, and I was like, hey, you said if I ever need anything to call you. Well, can I just stay with you for 2 weeks until I figure out this whole life thing? And, you know, it's really unfortunate, but I moved in with her, and her daughter had passed away, and her husband passed away months after that. Oh. So me being there, like, it helped her a lot because that was the first time, like, she came home to somebody in so long and she had missed it. And, of course, like, I was all types of broken at that point. So I ended up just living with her, and she gave me a bike and was just like, if you want anything in life, you have to do it yourself. Here's a bike. Find yourself a job. And after that, I just started working, and I just continued to work. And then I sort of, like, developed this mindset where, of course, it's always about who you know, but it's also like what you know, in terms of like experience goes. So pretty much when I was 18, I made the decision to like work all these different like customer service jobs and sales jobs that would give me enough of like experience to be able to go into different positions. Exactly. So that's how I pretty much wiggled my way into the software company. But that's why. That's why I didn't go to school, though. It was just one of those, like, unfortunate opportunities. And, you know, there's people who have situations worse off than mine that still get themselves to school, but I just didn't have that drive at that point.
Yeah.
At that point, it was just like, let me just work
You just
and
want to
see
take care
where
of yourself.
exactly and see where this takes me. So that was pretty much it.
Well, my friend's wife, I mean, like observation, like she got her GED,
Mhm.
and when I was working for Disney, and he still works at Baptist South.
Mhm.
She was making more money than both of us, not combined, but like
Yeah.
I was at the time I was working for Disney, I was making $52,000. He was
Mhm.
making around 40, and she was making around 56 or close to 60. And she has a GED, and she just worked her way up.
And that's
Yeah.
really it's hard to do. It's not as easy, but definitely if you get into it and you
Well, like the whole thing with a college degree, and I think it's the way things are going right now.
Mhm.
I don't think it's really needed. I really believe in education. I think people should get smarter,
Mhm.
but you can listen to podcasts, you can buy books. It's a lot of good intellectual people actually talking out right now. Like you can actually listen to their lectures for free
Mhm.
if you want to, or do what you did was go on YouTube and listen to some guy in a gym shirt like, let's get pumped up,
Ooh.
ledgers. Ledgers.
I'm gonna have to send this to you.
I want to see who this guy is, but there's a lot of jobs, and like me and my other friend, my old cop buddy, his wife used to be a news producer,
Mhm.
and then just moved back to Atlanta, and she wanted to get like just any job. She don't want to do news producing anymore because they have a child now. She wants to kind of like have a normal schedule,
Mhm.
and he's making good money where he can support both of them, but she just wants to work. She's having a hard time finding a job, even though she's educated. She's a college educated woman. Producer meaning that she has to be a boss. She has to manage a whole bunch of reporters. She has to manage the news.
But it's like that doesn't
Keep
even
things on
matter right
schedule.
now.
Yeah, it's like then with my situation, it's like while the business was going down, I was applying for jobs and I was going on these interviews, and some of these guys like, well, why do you make your own business if you think it's going to fail? I'm like, because I want to take a rest. You still in the same job your whole life,
Mhm.
and you just sat at the desk, and now you questioning me why I want to go into the world and find stuff out. But it's just it's a weird time. Like, I honestly don't think, like, there's a lot of these jobs, a lot of, like, entry-level jobs or managerial jobs that you don't need. You just need experience. Like, you actually did the work before and you know what you're doing.
I think that's really what it is. I know for me, like, my experience with people has been, like, my saving grace for, like, all the jobs I've been
Yeah.
at. Because at the end of the day, if you, I don't want to say if you're a good person, but if you can, well, that always helps. But if you can, like, communicate with people and, like, connect with people and have, like, that rapport with people, any company or any business is going to want that because they want the rapport. They want that relationship between, you know, the company and the customer. And that's pretty, I think customer service is where it's at if you're wanting to.
I think especially today where everything's becoming more automated, robotic, people still want to talk to a person. It's because a person can get more things done than a voice like, oh, press 1 or press 2.
Everyone hates that. Everyone hates that.
No, give me a person. I need to talk to a person.
0, 0, 0. I haven't tried this yet, but I read somewhere where those recordings, if you say like fuck, shit, if you pretty much like just start cussing them out, they redirect you to like a manager or a customer service rep because they sense that you're angry and they want it to be resolved. So I haven't tried it yet, but maybe the next automated service, I'll just start screaming fuck into the phone. Fuck you people. And we'll see where it goes.
Put on Quentin Tarantino movie in the background. Just, oh, wow, that person seems pissed. Okay. Since it's been like an hour and a half until we're going to go into the question time.
Oh, wow, has it already been that long?
Yes.
Look at that.
Right.
Questions.
Like I tell everyone, if you feel uncomfortable with one of these questions, you don't have to answer. Some of them are going to get a little personal, but like I said, you don't have to answer.
Sounds good.
All right. Where's my pen? So I can
Here you go.
There it is. So I can knock it off. All right. Given the choice of anyone in the world from any time period, who would you want as a dinner guest and why?
Ooh, a dinner guest. That is a good question. Because I don't know, like, I feel like obviously if they're going to be a dinner guest, it's going to be something that I want to learn about. I would want to learn something from them. So I'm trying to think of someone that...
You don't have any heroes from like a past or anything? Or from today?
Honestly, so it would probably be Caravaggio.
Who's that?
He is one of the old artists. He was pretty much like this outlaw, and he was, I don't want to say he was a terrible person, obviously, I don't know, but he was more of a criminal. And did these beautiful paintings, and that's how he would get out of like his death sentences and everything else. It was pretty much like, fuck you, I know I'm this person, I know I've done these terrible things, but let me paint this for you. So I think it would be really nice to like have dinner with him, and of course like learn the ways of the paintbrush like he does. But also hear about, you know, just all those crazy stories, like why did you do that, and how did you wiggle your way out with this painting. Like I would just love to hear all that.
What time period was that?
Caravaggio, you know, I couldn't tell you. An art history major, that's terrible that I don't know, but he let's pull him up real quick. Caravaggio. He was an Italian painter from the 1590s to 1610. Or I guess that's when he was in Sicily, but yeah.
Italians.
Yeah. So that was him.
They don't give a shit.
Yeah, so hold on, I can pull up one of his paintings. They're all dramatic. They're all like allegorical, like mostly religious paintings, but I mean, you've probably seen this one before.
Yeah, I think I saw that in the Louvre.
Yeah, it's Caravaggio.
That's it. Yeah, I did see that
I want to have a drink with him.
Okay. What would constitute a perfect day for you?
A perfect day?
Mm-hmm.
A whole lot of nothing and a sense of no schedules or anything like that. I think somewhere outdoors, like a nice park, probably the gallery, going to a gallery, art gallery, going to a park, reading, writing, and then going home and doing art and having some amazing food and wine. I think that would be a perfect day.
What about cheese and wine?
Cheese and wine, yes.
Cheese and wine. Okay. When did you last sing to yourself or to someone else?
Sing to myself?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I car sing all the time. I sing around Jimmy John's too.
Really? I don't hear you.
It's super quiet.
You sing it to yourself.
I'm pretty much whispering to myself, but no, I'm a car singer and I'm a shower singer, and yeah, and I'm the type of person, I like sing the instrumental parts. So even if I'm not singing the words, like I'm just like doo doo doo, like I'll just go ahead and so yeah, that counts.
I got a thing like, I think I pay more attention to instrumental parts than actual words.
Really?
Because there was there was a song I really like, by Breezer. No. The title of the song is called Breeze Blocks, and it's by starts with A. Well, anyway, like it's a really cool theme, and at the time when I was with that girl, like, hey, this is a song I think about you too, and I thought like, because it kept saying I love you, of course I love you, stuff like that. It's like, did you really actually listen to this song? It's about kidnapping a girl and using breeze blocks to hold her down. I'm like, well, oh,
that's cool.
I still like this song. All right. If you reach the age of 100 and have the choice of retaining the mind of a 30-year-old or the body for the last 60 years of your life, which one would you want?
Oh, goodness. Probably the mind of the 30-year-old.
Why?
Because, like, I mean, it'd be nice to have the body and be, like, able to do things and to enjoy to do things. But then, like, I just feel like the mind is really where it's at. Like, look at Stephen Hawking.
Yeah.
People like that. I think I'd rather be able to perceive the world and understand the world and be able to, you know, still have that input and be able to say things, even if I can't, you know, move around and do the cha-cha slide or whatever at that age. I think I'd rather be able to.
Well, it's like what you said with Stephen Hawking. This was amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the thing is, he was supposed to die 2 years after he got diagnosed, and he died when he was 70. It's like, and he died like being. Did you read his books?
I haven't.
It's actually really interesting how he, like, I don't want to say dumb it down, but how he made physics very interesting to read,
Mm-hmm.
and how you simplified it so everyone could read it, not just a physicist, but like anyone. And if you got general interest in science, you read it like, oh wow, this is very interesting how you put things.
I should probably go and read it.
Yeah, well, he had both, like a theory of everything,
Mm.
and I forgot the other one.
I watched that movie.
That
was a good movie.
Yeah, that was a good. Man, that sucks. Like some of the stuff like they went through, like man, that's
It
terrible.
was an emotional movie.
Yeah.
It was good though.
You have a secret hunch on the way you will die.
Do I have a secret hunch?
Yeah.
Ooh, I'm one of those paranoid people where, like, I always think I'm going to die in a car crash.
Mhm.
Like, every time I get in the car, I'm like, oh, is this going to be it? So, I don't know, like, I would say that would be it. I would hope not, because I feel like that would be really messy. I would prefer it to be, like, in my sleep or something, but
Mhm.
even then, I don't know.
Mhm.
It's a, oof.
Okay, we'll go with something a little lighter. If you could, just a little deeper. If you could change anything about the way you were raised, what would it be?
Actually, it's actually really funny. So I was thinking, not necessarily about that, but I had like a similar like mind like train of thought before I even came here. I was at Panera reading this book, but I guess let's rewind. So like growing up, my parents were very dysfunctional. My parents were actually 20 years apart.
Oh wow,
Yeah, so it was more like
it's a big difference.
And my dad, he's Vietnamese.
Mhm.
And, my mom had me when she was 17.
Yeah.
My dad was 37. So that was pretty much like her dad, the type situation.
Yeah.
So it was a really weird growing up. And it was a really very abusive falling out. And, my sister and I got involved. So it was really terrible.
Ooh.
Cue the homelessness and everything else. So I had it really pretty rough growing up. But of all the things I would change with what they taught me or how they raised me would be not even anything that happened, but it would just be about beliefs. Like I think like Toltec wisdom is absolutely amazing. I think the way the Toltecs live, it's
Who are the Toltecs?
The Toltecs, it's like the Mexican, they were like the artists and dreamers of their time. And there's a really good book I'm reading now, actually. It's called The Fifth Agreement is what I'm reading. It used to be the Four Agreements, and then the son went and wrote the Fifth Agreement, which is like an extension of the book. But it pretty much just goes into the belief that we are as we are who we are, and, we give meaning to different symbols, like, I'm fat, I'm ugly. Like, that doesn't mean anything. Like, those are just things that we've given meaning to it ourselves.
Yeah.
But if we go over to, say, Spain or anywhere where they don't speak English, fat and ugly, that doesn't have any meaning to them because they have a different symbol to that. So pretty much, and that's just an example, but pretty much like the way the Toltecs believe, it's just like, we are living in this dream. We have control of this dream. Everyone has their own story, and it's not necessarily not your business, but you have no effect on anyone else's story and how they perceive things, since everyone perceives things differently. I guess overall, if my parents would have like introduced me to concepts like that and beliefs like that, I think it would have been really, really just sort of like emotionally, mentally, just like a freeing type thing to be able to enter the world going through middle school, which we all have wonderful memories of middle school, trying to find ourselves, and then going through high school, and then becoming this adult, because I feel like there was so much pressure that it's probably me just putting on myself of I have to be this way, I can't be this way, and it would just be nice to know if I went into that knowing that none of that really matters, like you are who you are, and it's as simple as that. So I don't know if any of that made sense, but
it makes sense. Because I'm reading about Stoicism, I'm trying to practice that. It's
really?
It's kind of similar, and you talk about there's three types of not control, but there's three basically types of control. Like you can only really control yourself, so you can control your attitude to something, or how you react, or how you feel about it. Then you have like influence over a situation, which is like if you're in a relationship with someone, you don't have control over that relationship. You only have influence over it. You can't force that person to love you or keep loving you, but you could be the best husband there is or the best boyfriend there is.
Exactly.
So that can influence, or don't lie or don't hurt her. And that will influence. If she breaks up with you one day, you can say like, well, it's nothing I did because I did the best I could.
Exactly.
And then there's the third type of control, which is stuff like you have absolutely no control over, like the economy, the weather, and it's just like how it goes back to the first control. Is like, okay, how would you respond to it? So, and also like they talk about. It kind of sounds depressing at first, but I started doing it. Like you should think about the kind of like the worst type of scenario, and it makes you more appreciative. Like, it's going to sound morbid, but it's like imagine someone you love dying. How would you respond to it? How would it feel? And you have to actually imagine it.
Yeah.
And instead of doing that, one, that situation will no longer have control over you. Two, you're going to be more appreciative, like knowing I will enjoy the time I have with them now.
You're not going to take them for granted.
You don't want to take it. You don't want to take it for granted. And when the situation will come at some point, you're going to be more prepared for it. Like, yes, like it's not like you're trying to stop having feelings about it.
Yeah.
But you're going to deal with it a lot better, and you're going to deal with the sadness a lot better, and the loss tremendously better. But it's still going to hurt, but you're going to come out of it a little bit better than not acknowledging it and not dealing with it now.
Yeah, you can't just sweep it under the rug and then...
And then deal with it when it comes.
That's really interesting, though.
Yeah. This is a fun one. If you wake up tomorrow and gained any power ability, what would it be and why?
Ooh, teleportation.
Go see your boyfriend.
Gonna see my wee little Scottish boy, but but also I think it'd be nice to just travel. Obviously, I don't have the most fond memory of traveling in airplanes, so if I can just poof somewhere and have dinner in Italy and then go and have dessert in Paris and.
Oh, it's all good food.
Yeah.
It's all good.
And then go to Philadelphia so I can have a Philly cheesesteak at 2 a.m. Then, let me just go ahead and eat my way around the world.
I love it. Okay. Where's the next one? What, if anything's too serious to be joked about?
Too serious? See, now that's a hard one because, like, I feel like in the realm of comedy, nothing is really off limits. Like, I feel like comedians poke fun about everything. That's their way of, like, coping.
Well, it's philosophizing.
It is.
You have to, they're actually talking about subjects that make you laugh, but there's stuff like you actually think about. Like, the really good comedians like Dave Chappelle or Bill Burr, they talk some honest stuff. Like, they're very honest, but it's funny.
They do. And have you ever watched comedians in cars getting coffee?
No, I haven't watched it yet.
It's with Jerry Seinfeld, and who in itself is just an amazing. I love his mind. I love the way he thinks. Yeah, he's great, but he gets all these different comedians from like Amy Schumer, Howard Stern, all these people. I don't even remember their names, but he picks like a nice classic car, and the show is literally them in the car talking. It's like a visual podcast, and them getting coffee talking. So, but anyways, as far as off limits, I guess it's always going to depend on your audience.
Yeah.
That's what it comes down to. It's just, I think it's always going to vary depending on your audience.
Yeah, you got to be careful with the rooming in. Like, you can probably still give the same message, but use different words.
Exactly. Use different scenarios or different comparisons. So, I don't know. I think when it comes to comedy, I think that's another artistic freedom that someone should be able to. I
think it's part because I tried to do stand up last year, and let's have a bad run in one of these comedians, and she was just freaking bitch, but kind of turned me off to it. But like no, it's I think that's probably one of the hardest arts like to do, because like one, you're facing an audience,
you're completely vulnerable.
And you have to make up your material yourself, so it's not like a play. Like, you're given material, you get time to rehearse, then you just keep going. Like, you may have to change on the spot and figure out what's funny and what's not. So I think that's probably one of the hardest forms of art.
Absolutely, because you have to read your audience, and that's a big audience. You could have so many people in the room, and you have to like not only be able to present your joke, but be able to look at everyone, engage their reactions to be able to know, should I lay off that joke?
Yeah.
So I agree. I think it's very difficult.
Okay, what's the next question? If you could travel in time into the future or the past, which will it be and why?
Hmm. I think this would go back to probably like the early Renaissance.
Yeah.
And I would want to shadow under one of the artists. Maybe it would be Da Vinci, whoever. But I would just want to shadow under someone and just be able to learn their techniques. I guess more specifically Albert Dürer, because he's a printmaker. And that's currently what I'm doing now. I love printmaking. So I'd love to be able to just pick his brain, see what he knows, and just try to learn some of his ways.
I think Da Vinci. Ooh, sorry. A little gassy. I think Da Vinci would be cool because not only did art, he did science, he did architecture.
People. He did those things before anyone else would.
I read his book. Like, it's not what you think when he dissected people. It's not like a modern day morgue. It was underground because that was where it was cooler.
And he had to keep it a secret.
Yeah, and it was still rot. They were still rotting, so everything smelled. It's like I imagine the smell underground with dead bodies. And he still went down there. It's like, okay, well, this is a capillary.
And drew it. He just sat there during the smells and everything else. It was
just dissecting. Like, okay, this is the artery.
Yeah.
Like, the guy was a genius. Okay, when was the first time you fell in love, and how did it begin?
So that's a weird one because I think there's different types of love. Of course, you have like the puppy love. You have like the love that you fall into when you're in a terrible place in your life.
Oh, that's a good way of looking at it.
And the love that you just fall into because you don't want to be with yourself. You know, like so I think I'll go with the healthy side of it.
Yeah.
So the first time I fell in love, and the healthy type of love where I love someone because I actually love them, not because I needed to hide from myself or lean on anybody, or feel validated. I think that's another thing. Was actually this past time, this current time with Ben, and it happened so unexpected because I didn't think anything of it, thought he was just gonna go, but you know, he's such a remarkable person in himself because he has such a great mind and just the way he goes about everything. You know, this is the first time I didn't have to feel insecure or worried or, you know, we're playing this whole game. Do I text you back? Do I not text you back? So it's just been really easy. And, you know, the term you're supposed to be with your best friend.
Yeah.
I feel like this is the first time it's actually applied. You know, I'm with someone who accepts me for who I am. I accept him for who he is. And we just enjoy doing this whole life thing together. Even though we're halfway across the world, like, it's still just like the connection and sort of like that storytelling you have with the other person, you know, telling them about the day and everything else. So I think this is the first time I've actually been in a good place in a relationship. So, my wee little Scottish boy.
You know, you picked a good culture going.
Yeah.
Like, I love this. I really do love the Scottish people. They're so cool.
They're wonderful. Oh my gosh, when I met his friends and it was just like a room of all these people, it was so fun. There was never a dull moment. It was absolutely amazing. So, yeah, Ben is great.
Well, I like that. Well, the way you said it was like very insightful. Like how you said like the different. Okay, you've been in love and. I want to say like if. I want to say that was love. It's like, okay, you need someone, or you need someone to fill a hole, or I think that was like kind of like a very interesting and like insightful way of actually playing that, because I never really thought it like that before.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's just like I know I said earlier. There's like different types of connections you have with people, and like it's special in its own way. I think it's the same with love, because I feel like to me, like what true love is, of course this is different to everyone, but I think true love is getting to that point where it's a healthy place and you love that person because you want to. Like, it should be easy. It shouldn't be hard. And I feel like most relationships are not easy. They're absolutely hard, and it's like, you know, someone's crying, someone's upset about something. So I think, you know, you've gotten yourself in a good place where you can have arguments, but it be constructive and not tear you apart. So that's love.
That's love. All right. Okay, this is gonna go with the first question, or not the previous question. When did you first had your heart broken, and how did you get over it?
I think the first time I had my heart broken was actually my mom. It was pretty much, I was in second grade, and again, like, my relationship with my parents have always been so tumultuous, and I think it's understandable because my mom was 17 when she had me.
Yeah,
she didn't have her
really
childhood. She was with this dude 20 years older who, not knocking down a specific culture, but, he's very traditional Vietnamese male, so I know it wasn't easy for her. But I think pretty much her outlet, or the way she redirected everything that was going on in her life, I think it was directed on my sister and I. But anyways, I was in the second grade, and I probably got in trouble about my smart mouth. That's what I always got in trouble with, and I still do get in trouble with it. But I probably said something cross to her, and I remember I made student of the month that month. And so I had, like, my picture in, like, this apple, and she had it, like, in the living room, in the dining room. And it broke my heart because she started screaming at me, which was normal in my household. But she picked up my picture and told me I would amount to nothing and spat on it.
Holy shit.
So in the second grade, having your mom spit on this picture. So for me, that was, like, the first time I had my heart broken. It's one of, like, my oldest memories, which is terrible. But I think pretty much the way I coped with that, I was in second grade. I think, honestly, the way I coped with it at first wasn't great. I spent so many years, like, insecure, hating myself, like, not being comfortable in myself, because it's one of those things, like, this is my mom, like, and this is how she thinks of me. So I pretty much adopted that same mindset. But I think as I got older, and it actually wasn't until recently, until I turned 18 and became, like, more independent, where I started coping with it in a more positive way, and that, those people's opinions and ideas of you shouldn't be your own, and that's when I started living a healthier lifestyle mentally. So I don't know if that really answers that question,
No,
but
it does.
that's
So,
pretty much that.
Well, I guess it's the way you want to answer it,
Yeah.
so it does. Do something a little more fun now. What's the most embarrassing moment in your life?
Oh, God. I hear things like that, and I always have a story, and I feel like I always forget it when I'm actually asked what's one of the most embarrassing moments of my life. I don't think it was a Tinder date. So there are some very, very embarrassing moments there. So I'll tell you this one. It's not the most embarrassing moment of my life, but Casey.
Yeah,
so
Casey.
Casey. so you'll appreciate this because it's a Casey story. So Casey and I have been friends since 6th grade, over half our lifetimes. And she used to come over a lot. We were inseparable at one point of our lives. And we were jumping on the trampoline. And we're in middle school, and these, like, guys next door are probably, like, high school or graduated, like, way too old for us. But, we're just young girls trying to show off. So we're jumping on the trampoline. And right as I jump up as high as I can, and, like, we're flirting and, like, waving to these boys next door that are, out doing whatever it was they were doing. And as I'm, like, up, Casey jumped up and pulled my pants down completely.
Casey.
Fucking Casey. And I was absolutely mortified at that point. Oh my gosh, no. I have an embarrassing story.
Okay, yeah, go for it.
This one's disgusting.
Okay.
It's so TMI. I hope you don't gross you out too much. Software job. So I was anticipating the drug test to be after my 90 days, because that's what I heard. Day 1, I got served with my drug test papers. I pretty much smoked the rest of the weed I had the day before.
It's like, oh, let's knock this shit out.
And I was like, what am I supposed to do? I was too afraid to actually, like, do the synthetic urine, because I was scared. I didn't know what to do. And I know people get caught for that. But anyways, so I had to do it by the end of the week. And I was just like, well, here's to hoping I flush my system. So I can't tell you how much water I drank, how much green tea, how much working out I did. Everything you could read on the internet. So that morning, it was the morning of my drug test. I woke up. I peed 3 times that morning.
Yeah.
Woke up super early trying to get, like, everything out, that first pee out. And then I drank 3 water bottles on the way from my house in San Marco
Mhm.
to Jack's Beaches. And I figured that's ample time, water, everything else. So I get there and I sign in. And right as I sign in, I was just like, ooh, I got to take a poo.
What?
But after I signed in, that's when they let me know.
You
Okay,
can't.
you're under watch. You can't go to the bathroom. You can't leave. You have to pretty much sit there. And I'm like, oh, okay. So I'd never really taken a drug test before, so I didn't really know what to expect. So finally they call me back. They give me my little cup, and they're like, you can't flush. You can't do anything. We have to come in and inspect it all. And I'm like, cool. I'm already nervous because I didn't think I was going to pass. So I go, and I can't pee because I had other business that I needed to take care of, and I'd already peed 3 times that morning. So pretty much like I knocked on the door because you have to knock on the door for them to open it. I knocked on the door. She's like, oh, did you have any luck? And I was like, no, but I had to go number 2. And then she just like closed her eyes and took a deep inhale, and she was like, okay, well, you still can't flush. And then she's like, if I can be honest, can we just try to make this like at least a little productive so you can try to like get a urine sample while that's going on? And I was just like, I'll try my best. I'll save you too many details, but I'll just leave it at I was meal prepping and I was having corn every day. I was also in the middle of a detox.
Like, oh my God.
You know it's bad when your own shit smells bad.
And then someone has to come in there after you, like, oh, well, you did shit.
I didn't piss a drop.
Oh, that worked.
I had a knock on the door, and the lady opens it. I was like, I am so sorry.
Oh my God.
She comes in, and pretty much, after that, I was told to go back in the lobby and just wait until I actually had to pee. So I sat there for another 20 minutes until I had to pee, and I felt like when I actually went back to pee, everyone knew. So that was probably the most embarrassing moment of my life.
Well, did you pass the drug test?
I did, thank God.
I'm going to try that if I have to do a drug test. Like, you can pass a saliva drug test if you just stop smoking for like a day or 2 days, something like that. But if I'm being told like at the end of the week, like, oh, well, start pissing,
Pee until you can't pee anymore. Drink that water, drink that green tea, and work out like crazy. Ugh. So, yeah. So that's, sorry if that was TMI.
No.
But
well, let me tell you a funny story. This is an embarrassing story. When I went to tell an embarrassing story. A couple months ago, me and my friend went to the beach at night around 6 o'clock, and we ate a couple of mushrooms. And what we ate, it was a small dose where we felt good, but we weren't tripping out too bad. And I got all friendly, and we went to this nice bar, what's it called, Ocean Club? Went there, and yeah, I think that's what it's called, that nice hotel with, so we're in there, and we got a couple of drinks, and I'm in t-shirt and gym shorts, and he's in shorts and a t-shirt, so we don't look like we should belong there. And we started talking to this group of people, this group of women, because I was trying to hit on this older woman, and she wasn't doing it. She wasn't interested in me, and her mom was one of the women in the group, and we were talking to her, and she told us like this little embarrassing story, like it's like, yeah, back when I was in 20, I was like so excited. This guy, we were talking to the dog, and we kissed, and I accidentally did I think I peed myself a little bit. And she felt embarrassed, and like I wanted to try to make the situation embarrassing. Like, well, let me tell you an embarrassing story. At my dad's wedding when I was at 15, my cousin brought her friend. My cousin brought her friend, and we started dancing, and she started rubbing up against me with her butt, and I got a full on bone. And my friend is looking at me like, you told her that. He walked away. He walked away. And I'm like, what? What did I say? The other two women look at me. The mother is just dead quiet. Like I had a full-on boner.
They're just sitting here like,
I was told the story like it was a normal thing. Then like later, we met up and we went to Tijuana, not Tijuana Flats, but the Flying Iguana because we went there, started dancing. But me and him went to go sit at the bar.
Were they there?
Well, they came to before we left to go Tijuana, not Tijuana, Flying Iguanas because they came there afterwards, and I danced with them a little bit. I was at the bar before we left. We were still at Olmsted 60. This nice guy bought these drinks for these women's drinks that were sitting right next to us, and the bartender I thought was really cute, but I thought she was on my league, and she might be one of those girls that likes rich men.
Mm-hmm.
So like I didn't give a shit at this point. I was still on marijuana, so not marijuana, but I was still on mushrooms.
Shrooms.
And he asked the girls like, "Hey, would you want me to get you guys a drink tonight? I'd like to offer you a drink." And it's like, "Oh yeah." I'm like, "What about me? What about my drink?"
What about me?
And I yelled it out. It's like, "I could tuck it in if you want." And they just looked at me, and I'm the only one laughing. My friend's laughing, but he's nervous laughing, like a bear's laughing. I'm just fucking laughing. Like, I could tuck it in for you. Just get me a drink. I didn't mean to embarrass the guy. I was just making fun of the situation, but they all looked at me like, "What the fuck is wrong?"
What is going on? That is wonderful. My cheeks hurt. My cheeks hurt. I've been laughing so hard.
All right, well, let's
face massage.
All right. What's the most terrifying moment in your life?
I think just recently, actually. So last Friday at the hotel, we got these. Well, first of all, our manager, one of the managers, was like freaking out, trying to get a hold of this one guy he's a shuttle driver. He's an engineer and he drives the shuttle.
Yeah.
So we didn't think anything of it. So finally, 10 minutes later, he comes up and was just like, "Hey, I need Brian." So finally, I was just like, "What do you need Brian for? You work in the kitchen. He's driving a shuttle right now. What do you need Brian for?" And he was like, "There's been reports that there's someone on the 5th or 6th floor with a rifle." And I'm sitting here like, "So you want the shuttle driver?" Like, what the fuck is Brian gonna do? So, and I asked him, I was like, "Well, did you call the cops?" And he was like, "No, I don't know what to do." And I'm like, "What do you mean you don't know what to do? I'll call them. Like, I'll volunteer." So pretty much like that moment was absolutely terrifying because like they're congregating, trying to figure out what to do when I'm over here like police, 911. And just, like, and I mean, it was it was probably about 5 to 10 minutes, but you know, in that 5 to 10 minutes, it was just absolutely I don't want to say traumatizing, but just like petrifying because, you know, I'm checking in people as usual. The elevators are right in front of me. And every time I would see like the elevator coming down, it was just one of those things like there's someone with a rifle. Like, it was pretty terrifying. Turns out it was a child with a toy gun. So it was a non-issue, but still just the way it was handled and just like that, just being in that situation. Cause you know, especially it's 2018, all the mass shootings and everything else, we hear about them, but that was
take it seriously.
Yeah. That was the first time I was just like, whoa, like this is a possibility. Like, whoa. So that was that.
Sure. Did the police come?
No, they never called the fucking police.
Stupid.
Yeah, I went to the GM yesterday, actually. I was like, "Hey, did you hear about the rifle on Friday?" And he's like, "No." I was like, "I have a story for you." So it's all good now.
Well, they said, like, that's the first thing you should have done.
Thank you.
Like, they should have done, like, don't call the police. Like, just tell them, like, we're not sure what the situation is. It's just better to let them know. And
these are the reports. You know, come and do your job. But I was like, what is the dude who drives the shuttle? Like, why do you need...
He's probably going to be just like, "Why'd you call me? I actually go to park on..."
He was pretty much like...
I'm staying where I'm at. You guys take care of it.
I'm staying in the shuttle. So, yeah, that was the scariest moment.
Okay. Have you ever had a spiritual or profound experience?
You know, I feel like I had a lot of spiritual experiences when I went to church.
Yeah.
But I feel like the most, like, profound experience that I've had was just, like, it was just me within myself. You know, this Toltec book I've actually read for 10 years now, on and off. It's a short book. It's an easy read, but it's just one of those things you read it and every time you learn something new. But I think it was like the first time I read that book, and, you know, I just felt like such a release from myself, and that was like one of the most profound things that's happened to me, I guess, like spiritually in that sense, was just being able to find myself and accept myself and just be able to move on with life with accepting who I am and just knowing that it's as simple as that. So I don't know if that really answers the question, but that.
I mean, like, there's no
right or wrong, but
yeah, these are questions that are just supposed to show us who you really are. So there's no, as long as you don't say like yes or no and that's it, just leave yes and just leave like that. There's no wrong answer. Okay. Is there something you dreamed of doing for a long time, and why haven't you done it?
I'm sure there's a lot. Probably learning. What have I always dreamed of doing that I haven't? There's like a laundry list of things, so I'm trying to pick one. Probably learning another language.
Yeah? Which language?
Any, really. I feel like Spanish would be great, especially living here. I think, you know,
there's... It's the second most... Spanish and Mandarin is probably the second two most spoken languages.
Exactly.
Next to English.
But I love how French people sound. I love the language there. I love Italian. But
yeah,
then
the French
again,
singers sound sexy.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do. So I don't know. I think that's actually why I haven't really committed to anything, because I can't really choose what I want to learn. It would probably end up being Spanish. So I just need to actually like commit to it, put the time away. But actually, I mean, I'm sure you can consider it a language. American Sign Language.
I tried to take that in college, and I got F.
Did you?
The only F, well, it was just an elective. Well, it wasn't F, but it was like a bad grade.
Yeah, well.
I couldn't do it.
So that's that, just learning another language.
All right. If money wasn't a concern and others' opinions of you didn't matter, what would you want to do? What would be your wildest dream?
Honestly, I would live a simple little life, a humble little life, and just
in Scotland.
In Scotland.
In Scotland.
In Scotland. And I would just want, you know, I feel like I love simplicity. I love it when the life is simple. You don't really have to worry about much, because then you can, since you're not worrying about so much, there's more time to enjoy things. But I would want to just have like a little art gallery, like maybe have an art gallery and like a coffee shop mix, sort of like Bold Bean. But you know, my own spin on Bold Bean, there would probably be more tea than coffee, because I don't know anything about coffee. But I think that's pretty much what I would do. I would just live a simple life and go to work, and I can make it a cat cafe.
What's
a cat cafe with a gallery? There we go. That's
like with cats in there, because that smell nasty.
No, you go in. They have cat cafes. The closest one's in Orlando. I haven't been. They also have one in Scotland too. But you pretty much go in and you can like have coffee or tea or like little hors d'oeuvres with these little cats all around you.
Like real cats?
Yeah, like real cats.
How's that place does it smell?
I don't know, but it pretty much promotes like adoptions and like adopting these little.
Are they like walking around freely, or they're in cages? Oh, really?
They walk around freely, and you can just chill out with a cat. And if you find a cat you like, you can adopt it. So I think a cat cafe with an art gallery in Scotland, I think that would be my...
I think there's only one cat in my life I really did like. It's my friend's cat named Elvis. And I had to take care of him for a month while my friend was away for a study abroad thing. And one thing I didn't let him do was sleep with me in a bed, because I didn't like that he had the key licker between his paws. I didn't like it coming on the bed with me because of that. Because I kind of... not a neat freak, but like a germ freak when it comes to that.
Yeah.
Like, you can't poo in the bed with me. But besides that cat was so awesome. He was a big fat cat. He really had his own personality. He was just I think his personality was similar to dogs than cats, because he was more friendly. He just wanted to chill with you. I call him my little meat pillow, because
meat pillow.
This is when I was living in Savannah. I was working as a cop. I would come home and like I'll be cold, and I'm like, hey, come lay on the sofa with me. He'll come, I'll lay my head on my stomach. And like, Only bad experience I had with that freaking cat was when I had to drive him back to Athens, Georgia, and it turned out he doesn't like being in a car. And the first time he crapped in his cage was literally 2 or 3 blocks after I left the house. So I went back, got a couple of paper towels. I'm like, okay, this might be a long trip, so I bought a roll of paper towels with me. Didn't think it was gonna be that bad. Somewhere like 2 hours to finish it, the trip, he shits again and pisses himself. So I stopped at a
And cat piss is terrible.
Well, yeah, and like so I stopped at a Dollar General. And he fucking does it again for the 3rd time. This time I was getting pissed off. I'm trying to calm him down, like pet him, but he kept meowing. Like this is like a 4 or 5 hour trip, and so I got a couple of wet wipe, like a baby wipe, so I could clean him off and clean up the cage. So I did that, and the last time we took a shit was like, I think out, like we were just close. We were very close, like 40 minutes away. We just passed by a cemetery. I was like, I'm gonna fucking kill you. I'm gonna fucking bury you in that fucking cemetery. The thing is, I love that cat. But I was like, I was gonna fucking kill you.
I could not imagine that car ride.
You god damn it. Okay. What is your most treasured memory?
Let's see, my most treasured memory. It's so hard. Because, so I'm going to just take the memories with my friends out of it because there's just so many great memories I've had with such wonderful people.
Mm-hmm.
So just like a memory involving myself, one of my most treasured ones was whenever I got my first apartment. It's after I lived with the teacher.
Yeah.
And she pretty much told me I'll either co-sign for a car or I'll co-sign for an apartment.
Oh, that's nice.
So, so I got a cash car.
Yeah. Get like a cheap card.
Felicia.
Yeah.
Felicia the Focus. That was my girl. So I had Felicia, and then 6 months after that, I got my studio apartment, and it was nothing glamorous. It's actually off Old St. Augustine Road.
Oh, shit.
By like where the Publix is, and
okay, Loretto.
Yeah, exactly. So I lived there, and it was this little 500 square foot studio apartment, and I think one of my most treasured memories was actually like going in there the first time and being able to say, that I finally have a home. Like, even though it was home for me living with Miss Mac with my teacher.
But something of your own.
Exactly. Because like I had spent, so many years not really having anywhere to live, but that was the first thing that was mine, like to live. So I think that's one of my most treasured memories. So, yeah.
Okay, what roles does love and affection play in your life?
I feel like big roles because I'm such an emotional person. Like, are you into the Myers-Briggs personality? Mm-hmm. Well, I am an INFP to the T. Super, so intuitive. What is it? What's in?
Neurotic?
Pretty much.
Neurotic.
But no, pretty much INFPs, like, we're just so sensitive. So I feel like being such an emotional person, like, I crave love in every form, like, whether it's just, like, people, friends, everything. So, yeah, for me, it plays a giant role. I feel like that's another reason I wasn't happy with the software job.
Yeah.
Because I love, like, person-to-person contact, even if it's, like, short encounters with people.
Yeah.
Like, I just love that. And when I didn't have that, I felt super isolated, and I didn't have, like, those opportunities to see people, connect with people. And to me, seeing people, connecting with people, that's a form of love. So I sort of need it to not be grumpy.
Yeah. I don't know, I can never do a job like that. Like, I need to talk to people.
Yeah, I need to talk. I have to have some type of interaction with people, because if not, I'm so not going to be a happy person. And I wasn't.
Okay. This is one of the last questions. If you knew you were going to die in 1 year, would you change anything about the way you're living, and why?
I mean, honestly, yeah. I would probably just say fuck it, get some, like, giant loan.
Go get me, fuckers. Go collect this debt.
Bitches. And I would probably just go and go backpacking, like experience the world, actually pretty much do everything that I wanted to do. I would just do it because, I mean, I only have 1 year to live. I don't want to spend it stressed, upset, working, dealing with the same, BS that we all do on a day-to-day basis. I would just want to just sort of forget about it and just enjoy everything. So, yeah.
So, fuck it.
Yeah, fuck it.
I'm gonna go live in Scotland.
Let me just sell everything.
Okay, this is the last question.
Okay.
What is the worst thing you have ever done, and what is the best thing you have ever done? So it's basically 2 questions in one.
See, that's hard. I feel like I've done a lot of terrible things to people, whether it was intentional or not. I feel like I've made a lot of terrible decisions. Let's start with the best thing then. So I think the best thing I've ever done was, I feel like this is a reoccurring thing, but just like gaining my own independence and just being able to know that, I got the car by myself, I got the apartment by myself, except for Miss Matt co-signing. But I think the best thing I ever did was not leaning on anyone, even when times got rough and, it was just absolutely horrible financially because I was 18 years old. I was a waitress. No. What was I at that point? I was a hostess, making $8 an hour, supporting myself. So, I mean, it got pretty tough, but I think the best thing I did was just to rely on myself and just sort of adapt the mentality that no matter what, I'm going to do what I need to do to live. I'm going to land on my feet and figure this out. So I think that's the best thing I ever did for myself because, like, going through that and adopting that mindset, it's helped me go through everything else in life because when shit hits the fan, it's like, well, if it needs to be done, I'll do it. I'll get through it. I'll be fine. It sucks right now, but eventually I'll figure it out and get through it. So I think that's the best thing. The worst thing I've ever done, I think, honestly, the worst thing I've ever done was just be consumed by jealousy. Like, I got into this relationship, which we all get into relationships we shouldn't be in, but I let that relationship define me and sort of like put that type of value on me. So pretty much, the guy not valuing me, I devalued myself. And I became so jealous and so insecure. I couldn't enjoy anything because I was constantly comparing myself, comparing my situation, comparing other relationships. And I think that was, in a sense, I put myself in my own personal hell where no matter what happened, I could have won the lottery, but I still would have been a miserable human being. So I think that's probably the worst thing I ever did was just let myself get consumed in all those negative thoughts and really those lies that we tell ourselves about ourselves. Because going back to the Toltec thing, we're living a dream. Nothing's real. So, so that's the best and the worst.
Okay. Well, I want to thank you. It was like a really great conversation.
Yeah,
it was fun. Especially you talk about poo. All right, so we're going to end it with this. Thank you, Crystal. It was a great conversation. By the time this is up, hopefully we'll be by May, early June. We'll be up also on our website, which is up now, but by the time you guys listen to it, this will be a month out. It's called a tabooolife.com.
That's so perfect.
A taboo life.
Taboo life.
I thought about that. Like at that website handle, the domain wasn't taken. Like, sweet,
it's mine.
All right, guys. Thank you, and thanks for listening.
Bye.
How do I end this?
All right, guys. Thanks again for listening. I really enjoyed this podcast, this episode, actually. It was really funny. She's very interesting, very well balanced, despite her family, what happened with her family. She's a very cool person to talk to, very friendly, and I really enjoyed this episode. So I hope you guys enjoyed this episode also. And again, if you guys want to check out atabooolife.com for other content, go ahead. And if you guys like to contact with me, specifically people in Jacksonville, if you guys got an interesting story to tell, email me at atabooolife@gmail.com. All right, guys, have a great day.